If you are a real estate agent and you are tired of cold calling, door knocking, paying for ads that flat out don't work, or just tired of not knowing how to generate leads, then this is the channel for you. We are four rockstar agents who have come together to help fellow agents achieve financial freedom as well as location and time freedom. My name is Andy Hollis, along with my partners Aileen Fountain, David Doran, and Tim Hollenden. Together, we have over 50 plus years experience and knowledge in the real estate and sales and training industry, and we are hoping to pass that knowledge on to you. So let's get started.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm Brian Ellington, Chief Learning Officer for eXp Realty, and welcome to eXp Executive Masterclass. Now, today's session is building your 2025 strategic business plan. As it stands today, how much is your business designed to produce? It's a weird question, right? It's a weird question. How much is your business designed to produce? So as you guys are thinking about that, first, a little bit about me. Brian Ellington, father of four, husband of one. I live in Austin, Texas, the beautiful ATX. I've been in business for about 20 plus years. Mom was a realtor for 30 years. I'm a realtor. I spent 15 years at the Red Kool-Aid Company as their Chief Products Officer, Chief Learning Officer, and COO for their international franchising. I spent 6 years at Realogy, now called Anywhere, and a couple of years as COO and Chief Development Officer of Century 21. In my career, with all the training and coaching roles that I've had the pleasure of building and leading many teams for different organizations and training and coaching somewhere between about 500,000 to 1 million agents. I'm not really sure at this point, but from all of those experiences, I can tell you two things relevant to today. The first is you are a business owner, period. You are a business owner. And the other thing that I can tell you is that business owners that succeed and that continue to have success do so by working a plan. So whether you're new to real estate or you're looking to level up your business, today we're going to help you build your strat plan using a process that I've helped some of the top agents and top teams in the industry follow to build their businesses. And I'm hopeful that it will help you as well. Before we answer that weird question that I just asked, I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV, but the folks who wrote this are lawyers here with our amazing team at eXp. Here's how I personally view this. Neither of us look good in orange jumpsuits. So do all the right things by your clients, by yourself, by eXp and our agents, and follow all the applicable laws, local, state, and federal. And also, there are no guarantees in life, nor here. So our results will be reflective of our effort, skill, persistence, and innovation. So enough about that. Now, let's talk about that weird question I just asked. Here's probably why you're here. And thanks, Stacy, for asking. I'll get your question answered hopefully in just a second. Probably why you're here today is you're here and you want to get here, right? You're here, you want to get here, whatever that is for you. If you're a $5 million producer, maybe you want to get to 10 million in production. If you're 10 million, maybe you want to get to 20, whatever that is. But here's a weird way of thinking about things. If you're here, everything in your business, your lead generation systems, your lead conversion systems, your customer service systems, all of that is all designed to do exactly this. And I'm betting that you're here because you want to change that. You want to go from here to here. Otherwise, you could just do what you did last year with some minor tweaks and probably have similar results, right? So today, we're going to figure out how we go about going from here to here. And really, when you think about how your business is designed, that means really three things: add, edit, delete. Add. Meaning, if you're a $5 million producer, there's going to be things that you have to add to your business that a $10 million producer does, if that's your goal. Edit, you're doing things at this level that will need to be tweaked, that will need to be scaled if we're going to get to this level. And delete, there are things that we do at this level that are going to hold us back from getting to this level. Now, that could mean delegation, that could mean a number of other things that we're doing that are not healthy business practices, whatever the case might be. today we're going to give you a pragmatic way of looking at your business so that you come up with a pragmatic business plan that gets you into action and gets you on the path to going and making those changes to your business. Now, here's the truth. Today's session can either be informational or transformational. Right? The difference is going to be our follow through, taking the time to think through the changes that we need to make. How do I know that those changes are going to be the right changes? Am I modeling that on successful agents and what they're doing? My hope is that you'll choose transformational so that our time together here then translates into what you want it to accomplish in 2025. All right, so a little bit about what we're going to cover on our agenda. First, we're going to figure out with some certainty of exactness why we want to sell however many homes we want to sell next year in our business. What's the motivation there? Then we're going to understand what that will mean in terms of activities, translating our goals into actual activities and habits. Then we're going to figure out our add, edit, delete as we build our business plan. Then we're going to talk about probably one of the most important things that each of us have, aside from our loved ones. It's time. Time with our loved ones, time on our business, the time we have to live our lives. How are we going to be most efficient and effective with that? And finally, we're going to talk about how to get this plan of ours into action once we've built it. So follow along with me. If you have questions, I am watching the chat, and I would love to stop along the way, clarify whatever I can clarify, or we can also do that at the end as well. So here we go. First, why are you selling real estate? Why are you selling real estate? You might be going, the money, Bri, the money, the commission checks. But I'd say, no, that's not the reason. See, oddly enough, we don't want the commission checks. We want the things that the commission check allows us to have, right? So whatever that is for you, why are you selling real estate? What is it that you want to have? What is it that you want to do in your life that's fueling that need to go sell homes, to go help people buy homes? Now, when we talk about building a business plan, is a weird way of thinking about it, but success is not about your plan going perfectly. Success is not about your plan going perfectly. If you have a plan that falls short of what you ultimately wanted because we didn't take into account what we needed to get out of our business, if we didn't take that account in building our plan, then accomplishing our plan, even if we accomplish our plan perfectly, that doesn't actually mean success. In fact, it probably mean a little bit of failure if we're not getting to where we need to get in life. So how do we make sure that our plan aligns? Well, I like to start first from a life point of view. And then that's going to inform our financial point of view. So it seems like every agent who goes through real estate school getting their license, I don't know if they hand something out or if there's something in the water, but for whatever reason, we all walk out of real estate school saying, I need to make $100,000 this year. I want to make $100,000 my first year in real estate. Why is that the goal? That's so broad. If it were 99,700, okay, that seems like you put some thought into it. If it were 101,032 cents, okay, it seems like you put some thought into it. But 100,000 just seems like a very generic target that doesn't take into account your personal needs. So you see this graph here on the screen. Here's the way I kind of think about it. What are all the things that you want to have happen this year in your life? Do you want to take a trip with your loved ones? Right? My kids and I, we like to go skiing every year in Santa Fe and Taos. Okay, great. Do your kiddos need to go to college? I'm not there yet, but I will be soon. Do you want to move to a different neighborhood? Or how much do you want to invest this year? I mean, you're in the market every day. By the way, if you weren't on Brandon Brittingham's Expand Investing session earlier, man, that was amazing. He's doing another one December 19th. What that guy can teach you about investing in real estate is amazing. Plug into that. Or do you need to invest in yourself through coaching or specialized training to grow in the areas that you want to grow in your business? Whatever the case might be, the more precise you can be about what I want, the more precise you'll be about how much is that going to cost, because a lot of these things involve resource, cash, in order to be able to fuel the things that we want. So when it's talking about maintaining and expanding your personal life, your personal expenses here, What is that? And by the way, if you're not sure what your personal expenses are, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, any of the major banks out there will give you a 12-month report of what you just spent, and they'll even break it down by category. So there's a shortcut for you if you're not sure about your personal expenses and what that looks like. Same is true, by the way, of your business expenses. I hope that you are using a different account, or rather accounts, for your business than from your personal life, so that you can track all of this. If you've not read the book Profit First, I'm going to slaughter this author's name. It's Mike Michalowicz, I believe is how you pronounce it, but it's called Profit First. Great book, talks about how we profit in business, and he gives great advice about how to set up bank accounts, the proper way to run a business. So when you have all of that, then the last big question is profit. What do you need to get from your business in terms of profit, and what are you going to do with that? Maybe you want to invest profit back into your business. You're going to do a new form of lead generation, or you need to bring in an administrator or somebody like that on a team environment. Or maybe you want to invest that profit into an ancillary business. We talked about investing, but there are other ancillary businesses as well that you might be wanting to start up from your business's profit. Whatever the case might be, after you have all of that, total it up. And then I'm not sure where my wife got this. I know it was from a reality show. Please don't tell me in the chat which reality show, because I don't want it to spoil it, but it's a great quote. It says, "Know your worth and add tax." So Norman Vincent Peale said it well. He said, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among stars. So whatever that total is, give it a little nudge up, so that we're dialing in our activity levels such that if we did those activity levels, it would give us beyond what our goal is. So that even if we fall just a hair bit short, we've already hit the total that we actually had for ourselves. Once you have that, once you understand how much of a financial goal you need to accomplish in order to fund your business and drive your life, you can begin to understand what then it's going to take to then translate that goal into activities and build a plan around that. Now, there are plenty of activity to goal calculators, goal to activity calculators out there. In fact, if you go Google real estate goal to activity calculators, you'll see a ton. If you're with EXP, I know there's some folks who are not yet with EXP that might be watching this. And by the way, welcome. If you're with EXP, we already give you the gold-plated Cadillac standard of accountability and tracking tools, and that's Sisu. And that's what you're looking at here. If you weren't at EXPCon, or you hadn't plugged into some of the agent news since then, we announced at EXPCon that we are giving all of our agents Sisu as part of being with us at EXP. And you see here the goals screen. By the way, I know you're probably going, we get Sisu for free. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate you very much. We just dropped that in the chat. That's the link for you to go and get your EXP Sisu edition for being with us. So when you go there, as you set up your account and everything through there, under the account tab in the navigation, you're going to see a thing that says goals. And when you go there, this is what you're going to see. Now, what's cool about Sisu is that it tracks your numbers year to year. And so you can use a previous year as a reference to set up your next year. So you see, I'm using 2025 in this hypothetical as my reference year to set up 2026. You would use your 2024 numbers to set up your 2025. Now, if you're not familiar with conversion rates and things of that nature, you don't know what yours are. Some of these numbers are pretty good, actually. They're based in reality about especially things like pending to close and agreements to pendings, things like that. Those are pretty good measuring sticks. I'm always going to encourage you to track your own numbers so that you can dial in your own conversion rates, because that's going to dictate activity level, right? If you're using a conversion rate that's higher than your actual, then your activities are going to fall short of what you need in order to get to your goal. So use Sisu to track those metrics so that you know what your rates are, so that you can really live up to the activity levels that you need to. Once you've put in all your numbers here, you'll see there on the right the output, right? It then lays out for you what then you need to go do in your business to accomplish that on a month-to-month basis. Even better, they give you a full year view. And what I really like about this is, and I'm gonna kind of talk out of both sides of my mouth about this, the seasonality toggle. I do like the seasonality toggle because for a lot of us, the market is not, creamy peanut butter. It is very chunky peanut butter. Now, I do want to caution you about adjusting your numbers for seasonality. And just a word of advice here. No doubt in your area, home sales go up and go down according to the season, especially my northern brothers and sisters out there. I know the big snowstorms and things like that can play a big factor in your market. That said, though, here's a thought. Many agents buy into this idea of seasonality, right? That, oh, the spring market, I gotta get busy in the spring market. Well, that becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. What I mean is, right now there are far too many agents basting the Christmas ham or removing the wax from their menorah from last year, getting ready for the holidays because nobody does business at this time of year, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. You might be looking at your phone, your calendar, your watch, and it says November 21st, but that's actually wrong. In real estate, it's not. It's March 1st, 2025. Because of our 100-day sales cycle, the things that we do today, if we met a ready, willing, and able buyer today, likely we're not going to close that deal for at least 100 days. That's if everything goes according to plan. Now, cash buyers, those are exceptions, right? But for the majority of our clients, that's going to be the rule. So the things that we're doing today aren't really about, snow on the ground or on the roof or anything like that. The efforts that we're putting in today are about tomorrow's business. And by the way, even when we're talking, 100 days from back up from here, where we may have snow on the ground today, I'd caution you not to buy into the myth that people don't sell in certain months. The most important thing on this whole entire chart here is at the very bottom there, where you see conversations. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the measure of success in our business. We're going to talk in a little bit about lag measures and lead measures. Lag measures are the results, sales, units, however you like to call it, transactions. Lead measures, though, are those things that drive lag measures, conversations, appointments, at-bats, right? Those are the lead measures. When it comes to our business, real estate conversations, and in Fast Cap, one of our great programs here at EXP, we talk about what we call real talks, right? These are real estate conversations where we're face-to-face, belly-to-belly, so to speak, or over the phone, or even over a back and forth text exchange, right? Where we talk about real estate, we ask for their business, we ask for their referral, we offer value to improve the relationship, we build rapport with them, we close for follow through on the value that we're going to offer, and then we set some sort of expectation of when we're going to talk next. That's a real talk. That's a real estate conversation. Those are the biggest drivers in our business. Those are the lead measures in our business. However you like to have those conversations, by the way. You'll notice I didn't say FSBO calls, expired calls, or anything like that. Real estate conversations, however you want to have those. Do make sure you follow the DNC TCPA guidelines if those are going to be by phone, by the way. Just protecting you there. You can use our dial safe product that we provide for all EXP agents to check whatever number you're about to dial to make sure it's not on the DNC TCPA. It's not paranoia if they're really out to get you, and they are really out to get you. So make sure you're safe there. But here's what NAR says. They say for every 100 people you know who are at that financial and age status to be able to afford to either buy or sell homes, for every 100 people you know, likely 8 are going to do a piece of business this year in real estate, either buy or sell, 8 of them. The big question is, how many of those 8 are you going to capture? And it's not going to be 100%. It might be 1. If you're lucky, it might be 1 out of the 8 out of the 100 that you're going to capture, which means that we need more people to speak with and provide value to. And this is success in real estate. Right? I was listening to John Chetblack earlier, and he said the math is the path. And I think that's right here. We got to figure out how many people we need in that database of ours to be talking with in order to run those conversion numbers and get the output that we need in our business. And then we just have to figure out how to scale our efforts to get to that number. So when we talk about seasonality, again, here's what I'm going to ask you. Are you average? Are you average? Because average agents follow the market. Top agents make the market through their activities, no matter what the month. Their sales may fluctuate, but not at the level of the market. And the big difference is their activity level. And this whole idea of, there's certain times of the year where nobody's buying or selling. Look at the graph. This is the fine folks at Sherwood.news. Thanks Sherwood.news for providing this. They've shown here the average daily number of homes, existing U.S. home sales by day throughout the months. Now look at January. You might go, well, hey, Bri, January is half of June. Okay, sure. I'm going to grant you that. Sales are lower. But here's the thing. The top agents are loving the fact that you're doubting yourself. They want you to keep doing that because while everybody else, average agents, take those months off because they talk themselves out of it, those top agents get to work and they clean up. A lot of agents around about September, they wrap up their business just like they're wrapping up an outside spigot on their home, right? Well, it's time for winter set in. Guess we got to call that a wraps. The top agents, they stay active. And as a result, they clean up in their business. Here, and what's interesting about that is even though there are fewer deals in those months, there's far fewer agents going after those deals. And so there's plenty of deals for successful agents. My question to you, and this is only a question that you can answer, which are you? Are you going to be a successful agent or are you going to be an average agent? It's your choice. Here's my advice. If you're going to adjust for seasonality, great. Adjust your activities, not your expectations for your business. Because it may take you more phone calls in January to find the ready, willing, and able buyers and sellers than it does in June, for example. Okay, well then that's just what it takes. That's just then what we need to do in those months to make sure that our business has stability and continues to grow, which is what we all want. All right, so we've talked about our financial goals and how we go about kind of setting our target for what we need out of our business. We talked about the level of activity then that it's going to take to hit those goals. But now when I coach agents and teams, and they tell me, hey, I need to do more in order to get more. One of the questions I ask is, well, great. So what's going to change? And I'm not looking for answers like, well, I'm going to try harder or I'm going to do more. What I'm really looking for is how structurally your business is going to change processes, systems, calendar. Literally, what changes do we need to make to your business? And it's only really when we make those real changes that we will see real changes in our results show up in our business. So let's talk about the kind of changes that we'll make in our business. Now, on screen, you see some elements of your strategic plan, and this is from the 4 Disciplines of Execution. This is an amazing book. If you've never read it, it's a great book. Covey and a few others wrote this several years ago, over a decade now, and ever since I read this book, I've incorporated it into my business planning practice. In fact, the university team, we just got done creating our strategic plan for 2025 back in October, following the process that I'm going to describe. So here are the elements. One wildly important goal. We're not going to boil the ocean. We're going to go after the most meaningful goal, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then that, by the way, we call the war wig, wildly important goal. Then the battle wigs. What are the few battle wigs, the strategies that is necessary to go achieve that wig? Right? How do we break that into smaller bite-sized pieces? And then for each of those battle wigs, what are the battle tactics? How do we break that into even smaller bite-sized pieces so that we can eat the proverbial elephant one bite at a time? Then we want to think through, what are the blockers? All right, here's this great plan that we've created, but where are the points of potential failure in our plan so that we can make sure that we can put in proactive measures to address those blockers so that our plan goes off the way that we want it to and we get the results that we want. A quick aside to my team leaders watching this. Team leaders, when I go to create this kind of plan, here's my process, and this might help you as well. First, I lock myself in a dark room, smudge some sage, drink Chardonnay, whatever it is that you like, 90s R&B while you're listening to Genuine and Brandy and Monica, whatever it is that you need. Think through, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What should your business do? What are your wildly important goals? What are your battle wigs? What are your tactics for achieving in your business? Your thoughts first. Then I go to my lieutenants. This could be your top agents on your team. If you're a big enough team and you have a director of operations, could be folks like that on your team. I'm going to go to the trusted few that I really want to get their input before I go to the broader team. And literally what I tell them is, hey, here's my draft, and here's a red pen. My expectation is not to get this piece of paper back completely unmarked. My expectation is that you're going to feed into it. You're going to give me great ideas before we go to the broader team. And then we're going to have that same conversation with the broader team. And we're going to say, hey, add, edit, delete. What do you think of this? This is our thoughts. What do you think? Here's the red pin. Now, there's a couple of hours in these conversations, a couple hours with my leaders, a couple hours with the team to really kind of get out this plan and get their feedback in it. There's several reasons why you want to do this, by the way. First is ideation. I'm not the most brilliant person on the planet, neither are you. There are always going to be great ideas that come from others viewing your plan. We're going to talk as part of the next steps of this that even if you're not a team, I highly, highly recommend that you invite people in to take a look at your draft plan and feed into it. If you are a team, the second thing you're going to get from this experience is buy-in, because it's their wisdom. They're the ones saying, let's go do this as a team. And that then gives you the stage for accountability. And then the fourth thing you're going to get is the ability to focus your team away from pet projects. We all agree to this plan. Now, how does your pet project change that plan? And is it going to get us the results that we talked about wanting as a team? All good things. So I hope that helps you in terms of your process team leaders. Now, back to the originally scheduled program. Let's talk about the various elements here, and I'll give you some sense of how you go about thinking about these types of elements. The first is the wildly important goal. And again, we're talking about one wig here. Now, in 4DX, 4 Disciplines of Execution tradition, it's expressed as X to Y by when. X to Y by when. And here we're really concerned about a lag measure, the result. Right? In the FastCap program, by the way, we talk about the lag measure of wanting our agents who go through FastCap to produce more units, right? To grow their business to whatever level they want to do. So we focus on the lead measure of real talks. By the way, in FastCap, what we found was the people who were doing average in FastCap were doing 4.1 appointments per person in the 6-week period, 2.0 agreements per person in the 6-week period. But the people who were doing the lead measure, real talks, at the level that we prescribe, which is really only 100 in the 6 weeks, 100 real talks minimum. The people who were doing that did 6.9 appointments in the 6 weeks, 3.8 agreements in the 6 weeks. Lead measures lead to lag results. So with your WIG, we're talking about lag here. So your X to Y by when. Focus on the things you can influence. When I coach agents, I don't coach them to volume. I coach them to units. Why? Because unless you're going to change your price point by becoming a luxury agent, you're really not going to influence price in your market that much. What you do influence is the number of units you sell through your activities, right? So focus on the things that you influence. Solo agents, what that really is going to mean is that your lag metric here is going to be units. Now your lead metrics will be some other things, but your lag metric is probably going to be units. Team leaders, interestingly enough, Your lag metric here, your WIG may be expressed in terms of units, or it may be expressed in terms of productive agents on your team. And you can define productive at whatever level you want. Ultimately, then that outcome will be units, but you're starting with amazingly talented people that you want to bring onto your team to help you achieve that. Rev share org, folks, let's not forget about you. Your lag metric here, your X to Y by a win, might be talented agents who are not yet with EXP that you want to bring on board. That's great too. So whatever it is, set your goal X to Y by win. So, from whatever units I did last year to whatever units I'm trying to do this year by December 31st, 2025. Right? That's referred to as your war WIG. Now, we haven't talked about lead metrics yet because that's really the battle WIG area. So battle WIGs can be both lead and lag metrics, but that's less important than what they really need to represent, which is the 3 or so things. We don't want to go too far beyond 3, right? Again, we're not trying to boil the ocean here. We're just trying to make a few changes to our business to bring about the results. And so with these battle WIG strategies, what are those 3 things that must be accomplished in order to hit that war WIG? Now, these strategies have to level up, and the strategies are going to have their own lead or lag measures. And so here's some questions for you to consider as you're thinking through what would be my battle WIGs. First of all, as you start thinking, maybe this is a battle WIG, keep asking yourself, well, is this a battle WIG or a battle tactic underneath the battle WIG? And how will we know when that battle WIG has been accomplished, right? And then what is the lead metric that we want to track here? Now, here's what's interesting. Untracked currently doesn't mean untrackable, right? So in the book, 4 Disciplines of Execution, they talk about this shoe salesperson in this department store who was just crushing it against all of the other shoe salespeople in that department. Well, lo and behold, they look and they find out it's because this individual, whenever anybody asked for a shoe in a certain size, they were bringing out multiple different styles in that same size that were related, more at-bats with that customer. And as a result, they were selling multiple shoes per customer. Well, they wanted all of their salespeople to start doing this, and they wanted to track whether or not they were, but they didn't have a system to be able to track that. So what did they do? They put a clipboard at the register and asked each salesperson as they rung somebody up to say, how many shoes did you show them? Untracked doesn't mean untrackable. Now for us, really some of the lead metrics here are going to be our conversations, our appointments, and maybe even some of the other lead generation activities that we do. You may not track those today. You now have CSU as an entire organization to be able to track your metrics. And I'd highly recommend that you do. You might go, well, isn't that another step? Do I really want to do that extra effort? And my advice to you would be yes, for 2 reasons. Number one, we talked about inserting your conversion metrics. Well, you won't know those unless you're tracking it. And Sisu makes that dead easy for you. And it not only makes it easy for you to track your conversion rates, but then it does all the formulation for you of giving you the conversions and allowing you to set better business plans, better activity levels, and things of that nature. The other thing it does, and we talk about this in FastCap because we use Sisu in FastCap, there's this weird dopamine hit that you get where you know, hey, today I'm supposed to do so many different activities. For us in real estate, it's really hard to be settled sometimes and feel like the day is done if we didn't have a closing that day or don't have one tomorrow. How you put your head on the pillow and rest and relax at night and enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones, is just knowing that I did the activities necessary so that 100 days from now, the results are going to show up. And that's what Sisu gives you in addition to all the other benefits. So I'd highly encourage you to use that. Now, Randy's going to drop into the chat a link to a document. This document, I'll talk a little bit more. This has some thought starters for you for solo agents and for teams. By the way, 2 different thought starter documents in one for you here about what battle wigs might look like for you as a solo agent and what battle wigs might look like for you as a team member. I'm not saying that is definitively them, just saying through experience, those are some pretty good thought starters to at least get you going on your journey about what battle wigs might look like for you. So once we talk about the battle wigs, then the question is, okay, so what are those tactics that we need to take in order to achieve that battle wig? under each battle wig, we're going to have, again, roughly 5 battle tactics. You can have a little more, but we don't want to have too many more so that we lose focus. So these are the bites of the elephant. And you see some of the things here about this. They've got to level up to the battle wig. No pet projects, right? These tactics need to accomplish that battle wig. That battle wig needs to accomplish the war wig. I don't know, Linda, if Lofty has the ability to track like Sisu. I don't know if anything has the ability to track like Sisu. It really is the Cadillac standard. The tactics have to level up. The team, here's a few thoughts for you. Tactics should have a driver driving that tactic. Tactics should have a driver driving that tactic. It's okay for one team member to have a few different tactics on your overall plan. Teams, what you would not want is one sole team member being responsible for all of it, right? So divvy up the love and the labor. And the way in which I always approach drivers is their role may not be necessarily one of a leadership, but if a driver comes to anybody else on the team, the standing understanding is that stop what you're doing and help that driver on that tactic, right? The day-to-day routines that we all get into, those take a back seat to accomplishing the things we need to accomplish in order to achieve our battle plan here. Also, too, teams, as you go to roll out new major tactics in your business, I would ask your team members, your drivers, to have a distinct strategic plan for just that tactic. So, for example, if you're going to go take advantage of YouTube, right? You're going to go create a new YouTube channel and really drive lead generation on your team through that. Well, okay, so what's the wig for your YouTube goings-ons? What are the battle wigs that you need to go accomplish in order to be successful on YouTube? And what are the tactics that you're going to take? Right. And I ask the drivers to draft their own strategic plans for their tactics and then come back to myself and anybody else who's relevant to present that to us, to get our buy-in, to get our feedback, and to get our ideas on that. So the other thing that you're going to have to understand as you look at the questions here is that tactic really going to drive the battle wig, or is that a pet project? How will we know that that tactic has been accomplished? Is there a lead measure or a lag measure that would enable us to understand that we're on track to accomplish that? What was your RACI or RACI, however you like to say it? This is project management terminology, so cool kid talk here, if you will. That is responsible, accountable, supporting, consulted, and informed. Whether you're on a team or you're a solo agent, likely a lot of what you're going to be doing and making changes to your business is not just going to be you alone. As a solo agent, it could be vendors, it could be outsourced parties that you're using in your business. You may even have a coach that's part of your business practice. And I hope you do, by the way. Mentor, sponsor, whoever else. There's going to be others that you want to help you with your plan. So make sure that they're informed. And if they have a role in your plan, certainly make sure they understand what that role is, when that role needs to be accomplished, and how it fits into the bigger picture. The other one is the timing of everything. Both battle wigs and tactics may need to be accomplished earlier in the year in order to set ourselves up for success. The example I always use on this is your sphere of influence. If you're, in addition to your prospecting and marketing efforts, also looking at your sphere, your database, to generate a certain piece of your business, right? A certain amount of your transactions for the year. The question is, do you have enough contacts set up on regular drips over time to be able to do that? Right? Just because we add them into a database doesn't mean they convert tomorrow. We need to have great lead cultivation mechanisms that are dripping on them over time so that when they're ready, they'll pick us. And if you don't have enough contacts in your database to accomplish your goal out of your database for the year, then either you're going to need to front end load your database early on in the year with enough contacts to get there, or you might have to adjust your plan on how much business you expect out of your sphere and really focus on more immediate business prospecting, FSBOs, expireds, open houses, that kind of a thing, in order to offset what you can't make out of your sphere because of the conversion rate of numbers. Finally, blockers and proactive measures. So in thinking through things, you might have 4 blockers, but again, we're not trying to boil the ocean. We don't want to sit back and kind of get it neurotic and try to think about everything that could possibly go wrong in our business. When we think about the battle wigs, the tactics, and ultimately the war wig, what are those 3 things that could go wrong, right? There's going to be a lot of things that could possibly go wrong, but what are the things that are likely? Tony Robbins said, you know what your problem is? Your problem is you think you shouldn't have problems, right? We all will have problems. The thing of it is we want good problems, right? I want the 10x income Brian problems, not the current income Brian problems. So when we think about those things that can go wrong, the challenges, the problems, the road bumps, the blockers, then the question is, okay, so knowing that that's the case, knowing that that could go awry, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to solve that? And how quickly can we put that solution in place to make sure that problem gets addressed before it ever becomes an issue? All right, so I mentioned that document that we just dropped for you in the chat. Here's a look at it. And it's 4 pages. It'll give you a sample thought starters for solo agents, sample thought starters for teams, and then there's 2 pages that are really a worksheet to help you kind of think through building out your plan. So here we go. We've talked about your financial goals and how to think about your motivations, what you're trying to get out of it. We talked about putting that into activities, right? And then we've talked about figuring out how do we direct those activities? What are we going to do differently in our business? What are we going to change about our business to really go through and accomplish what we want to accomplish? The next big thing is time. So here's a question for you. Have you ever thought about what this number on screen represents? 168 hours. What is that? Well, if you're quick with math, or if you've read the book 168 Hours by Laura Vanderkam, you know that this is how many hours we have in a given week. The biggest difference between success and failure, and the biggest difference between happiness and regret, is purely this: how you spend your 168 hours. What do you want to accomplish in that 168 hours? And not just in your business, because this doesn't just represent the amount of time you have to accomplish your business goals. This represents the amount of time you have to accomplish your life goals, which is even more important. So here's a quick look at things. And I want to say right off the bat, this is just a sample, but I'm going to give you a second as you look at that to sort of absorb it really quickly. So you see on the left there, personal time, on the right, business time. Here's an interesting thought. What do you want your life to look like? If I took you to a store that you were familiar with, or a restaurant that you're familiar with, and I gave you $100, and I asked you, how are you going to spend that $100? I bet you'd probably know pretty quickly exactly what you were going to go buy, exactly what you were going to go eat at that restaurant, right? Well, you've been living your life for decades. This is a store that we've each lived in for decades, right? So if time is our currency, and it is, how are we going to spend that? We have a finite amount of it. So how do we be most effective? Think about some of the most successful people you know. They don't get any more time. They don't get any more time. At best, what they get is enough income to help rent time from other people. People that they bring into their business, employees. So literally in a given week, where do you want to spend your time? Now, the number here are idealized, and your time spent servicing buyers and sellers may be different. Your goals may be more than 24 deals, which is what we kind of used here on the business time side of things. You may want to do more than 24 deals. But the key here is figure out your 168 hours. Now, it's interesting. I share the story of my team. I went through a MBA in entrepreneurship, and it was literally 100 hours a week. 100 hours a week. Not kidding you. It was 100 hours a week. There's 168 hours in a week, right? If you're getting full 8 hours, that's 56 hours. Oops, now we've only got 12 hours left. Oh, by the way, my firstborn son was born 4 days before that program started. Yeah, my wife loved me for about a year. So when we did this exercise in business school, because it was 100 hours a week, they actually sat us down and had us do the 168-hour exercise. Where do we want to spend our life? What was interesting is I found myself sort of negotiating with myself, like, do I really need 8 hours of sleep? Or how fast can I take a shower? Or can I eat that meal as I'm doing something else, right? Ultimately, though, we get 168 hours. So the question is, what can we learn from doing this kind of exercise? Well, here's what I learned from doing it. The first is it'll make you want to get far more efficient with your time. You'll start drawing boundaries of things like when you won't answer that phone because this is family time, or you'll start drawing boundaries about how many properties you're going to show a particular client before you expect them to make an offer. And that's a personal decision. You need to set those boundaries early in a benefit way with your clients to make sure they understand that we don't want to go see 50 homes on the market, because that's not going to lead to good outcomes for you. We're also going to make sure that we don't waste time counting paper clips when we should be doing other things. There's a lot of times we spend when we go and sit down at our desk in the morning and we kind of rev ourselves up into action, ready, aim, ready, aim. When you really take stock of your time and how you want to be spending it, you'll be much more inclined to fire quickly. The other thing too is it's going to start making you hyper aware of activities that you should not be doing anymore, non-dollar productive activities that can easily be delegated without necessarily hiring other people, using third parties and whatnot. And then it will actually guide you at a certain point about when you need to bring leverage. When you want to do a certain number of deals, it's going to go beyond your personal capacity. And it's going to be about how you want to delegate and what you want to delegate. And delegation, it can mean hiring somebody to a full-time position, but it doesn't necessarily need to. Had a good friend of mine that he would do an a la carte menu for things like putting a sign in the yard, putting a lockbox on a door, and he would either use runners that he would pay so much for each of those different activities, or he'd actually use agents who weren't yet productive and needed some extra cash to make ends meet in their life. There's plenty of those out there in the industry. And that's an easy way to be task-based in our approach to delegation. There's virtual assistants where you can, have somebody at a very reasonable cost spend a certain amount of time in your business. There's shared services where you and another agent can go in together on bringing in somebody as a shared resource, like a transaction coordinator. There's even third-party transaction coordinators out there too. And then, of course, there's part-time and full-time people that you can bring into your business, whatever the case might be, wherever you're at and whatever your need is. The point is really to focus on the ROI that you need and the biggest return on your time to get that ROI, and then figure out how to get the rest off of your plate. By the way, a brief aside, when it comes to time and where you spend your money after you've paid your bills and invested your money, here's three things that I'd really recommend that you spend your money on. The first is your bed, because speaking of your time, you're going to spend a third of your life in your bed. Literally, I'm talking about your bed. Tempur-Pedic, 8 sleep, whatever you need to get the best possible rest you can get, spend it on your bed. It's going to not only impact that third of your life that you spend in it, but the other 2/3 of your life as well if you're not getting great sleep. The next is your work environment. That could be the people around you if you're building a team. It could be your desk chair or your car, whatever it is that you spend the most amount of time in, making sure that that's an environment that's comfortable but also productive based. You've got everything you need to get things done. And then the final thing is your loved ones, because that's who you spend the rest of the third of your life with. And there I'd say, if you ever feel bad about spending money on going places and buying things for them, man, you are buying memories. You're not wasting money. So hope that helps you. All right. So we've talked about a lot here. All right. And we've got all the elements together to build our plan. What's motivating our business goal, the goals to activities, elements of a strategic plan, 168 hours. Now let's talk about the next step, because listen, you can walk out of here and get back to what you were doing and continue to have the same results that you've had in the past. Or you can bring the results to your business that planning and execution on a great plan will bring. I hope that you choose that one. So let's talk about next steps. Here's what I would have you do as an action step for your business after this. First would be go use this, take that worksheet and go draft your strategic plan. Then I'd ask you to go seek feedback from somebody who's trusted in your world, a sponsor, a rev share partner, a mentor, a broker, a coach, whatever the case might be. You've got amazing resources inside of EXP. Use them. Finalize your plan. Then share your plan with anybody that is part of that responsible, accountable, supporting, consulted, or informed matrix. Who's part of the plan, and make sure they understand their role in it. Regular personal reviews and check-ins with that RACI, with the responsible, accountable, supporting, consulted, and informed. Make sure they know progress toward the plan and whatever adjustments we need to make. And then finally, set a quarterly accountability to figure out, does something in the plan need to be tweaked, or was there something not in the plan that we need to add? Figure out on a quarterly basis, how do we need to adjust this plan? It's a living, breathing document. It should not be something that we set before January 1st and then never think about again.